It's now 6 o'clock right here on Big Breakfast. Today FM, today's hit music.
Hey, I'm Pauline.
And I'm Alan. Tune in to the Breakfast Show on Today FM with Pauline and I every weekday morning
From 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Today FM, today's hit music.
Good evening, this is FPC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. In tonight's bulletin, taxi driver fears for his life after female passenger stabs and robs him. Fiji and other Pacific islands heading for a strong to severe El Nino event. And government looks to mainstream deaf students into main school system. Well, taxi drivers are now fearing for their lives when they are doing their work day in and day out due to continuous attacks and robberies against them. Just recently, a 38-year-old taxi driver from Narere in Nasinu is recovering after he was stabbed in the neck by a female passenger. Viewer discretion is advised.
Irfan Imtiaz Ali of Nasinu came to FBC News to tell the story of a trip that almost cost him his life. These are pictures from Monday night at the Nakasi police station before he went to get medical assistance.
It was Monday evening when I was parking at my base in Navosai taxi stand. When Itauki girl approached me, she said, "Take me to 9 miles." She told me to take her to MHS. Then when I take her there, then she did not get off at the car park. She directed me towards the graveyard.
It was around 6:30 p.m. and Ali says he did not find anything unusual because most of his passengers take a shortcut through the graveyard to go towards Wainunu.
As soon as she said stop, I stopped the vehicle. Same time, I even couldn't reach my hand to switch on the light here. As soon as she said stop, I stopped the vehicle. Same time, she yelled and hit me with something from the back. So in that case, actually, it's very difficult for us gang to even control the vehicle. And actually, myself was very frightened actually at that time. I thought some other guys will be attacking at the same time.
Ali could not move the vehicle, saying his glasses had fallen down and he could not see properly. The cut on his neck was deep and was bleeding for days. Police confirms the incident was reported at Nakasi police station.
We provide service to them, to the public, and this is what the public doing to us gang. We poor people, we earn our living by this.
Fiji Taxi Association President Rishi Ram is shocked and says 4 of such attacks have occurred in a month's time. A similar incident occurred in Bar last night, where the driver was confronted by the passengers.
They put the pen knife on that guy's neck and then took all his money, mobile phone. When they opened this purse, they found the ATM card. So they forced the pen knife on their neck, and this driver has to tell the PIN number.
Ram says they want to speak with the police commissioner to find a solution to this problem. He says if police cannot provide patrols at night, their last option will be to suspend services. Shanal Shivan, FBC News.
Police are investigating a case on the attack of a staff of the South African High Commission on Friday night. Major General Ben Hoenewaal told FBC News the first secretary of the High Commissioner was attacked when he was returning from dinner.
He was assaulted by 3 unknown people. He sustained injuries. Apparently, he lost his consciousness. He was unconscious. He reported it. I met him with his High Commissioner in the Suba Private Hospital, where he was treated and again he was then discharged from hospital.
Well, the man had sustained serious injuries to his face. The incident happened outside the High Commission office in Suva. Fiji and other Pacific Island countries are heading for a strong to severe El Nino event in the next few months through to December. The El Nino phenomena is a warming of surface ocean waters in the eastern tropical Pacific, which can have profound effects on weather patterns around the world. Akusita Tale reports Fijians are being advised to take this issue seriously.
The Fiji Meteorology Office says the El Nino phenomena has picked up its pace from April and has intensified into a moderate event as of June this year. However, at the end of last month, it is on a strong category.
The last 3 to 4 months, we've seen that the Fiji is getting less rainfall than it was supposed to be getting. Even though it was in a dry months, we normally get about 50 to 100 millimeters of rainfall. In most parts of the country, we did not get this much, and it was only about half of the rainfall that we got in the last 4 months.
El Nino events happen every 3 to 7 years and can last from 6 months to 2 years. The worst on record was 1997 and 1998. This year, it could be equal to or as severe as the 1997 phenomena. The Fiji Met Office records the current temperature is at 1.5 degrees to 2.5 degrees warmer than usual. This means Fiji and the region are at a risk of tropical cyclone distribution.
During this upcoming tropical cyclone season, there is an elevated risk for the countries to the east of the international date line, which is Tonga, Samoa, Cook Islands. When compared to the last tropical cyclone season, Fiji also has an elevated risk.
Nanraki's weather forecaster Neville Coop says when El Nino peaks around November and December, the elevation of temperatures in the ocean will be about the same as 1997 and 1998 or even stronger.
The impacts are going to be in the form of reduced water for health and sanitation, lack of water for agriculture, that includes crops and of course animals. And this has a very significant effect then on the economy of Fiji.
Earlier this week, the United Nations urged the Pacific Island countries and governments to prepare for a looming El Nino emergency with the potential to affect more than 4 million people. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
Government is looking to mainstream students with hearing difficulties into the main school system. Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy made the statement while launching Sign Language Week for the Fiji Association of the Deaf in Lautoka yesterday.
Government is undertaking efforts to ensure all students, whether they have any kind of disabilities or not, are treated equally. Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy says they will provide the necessary facilities and resources to make this a reality.
I want to today let you know that our Prime Minister, Honorable Bani Marama, and the Ministry of Finance will make some major announcements in the budget to recognize that we will treat them equally, if not favorably, and provide the resources that they need to develop them to lead a normal life.
Dr. Reddy says they are also looking at incorporating sign language into the teacher training curriculum.
What we want to do is we're now talking to the teacher training institutions to revise the curriculum. We want to introduce sign language as part of the teacher training institution's curriculum so that all the future teachers also know sign language, and therefore in their teaching they can use sign language.
The Education Minister has also committed that the ministry will increase the number of sign language interpreters for the association, as well as provide hearing aids for all students with hearing disability.
That is something that we are working with the international donor partner that I met last week to provide hearing aids to all those children who have difficulty in hearing.
The minister has assured the ministry will provide all required assistance to ensure that students with hearing difficulties lead a normal life and have access to all training facilities and resources that other students have. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
Still to come on FBC News, homeless family gets new home in just a week.
Ya bina boleh menonton musik main musik menggunakan bola FM 62 na seri na ngona ni ndende manda kay Central Rental sa bola ka na rusulo ko ito minichi me ba na koloko. Ni sa bola.
Oya wa wati soni dalai.
Gonga ay musik don.
Nama kikirau mena tolu kina bitu. Ena via kabi moliti kina porombuka.
Goria na lali ne kabi. Bola FM number 2 na seri.
Welcome back to FPC News. The Land Transport Authority now has a fully automated vehicle inspection system to ensure the standards and compliance procedures of vehicles on Fiji's roads are not compromised. Minister for Infrastructure and Transport Parveen Kumar Bala says the new inspection system will help bring about control and the number of road accidents occurring around the country almost on a daily basis. Shireen Lata has more.
The Land Transport Authority continues to modernize its inspection structure to be fully equipped with the latest systems so that standards are maintained.
There was an urgent need to provide a proper quality assurance maintenance system for all public modes used so that the general public can feel confident while traveling from point A to point B.
The vehicle inspection system features full vehicle inspection capacity from brake test, headlight test, smoke, undercarriage, engine diagnostic and other defects that are usually overlooked during manual checks. Bala says the new inspection system will also address the issue of collusion and elements of corruption within the vehicle inspection areas.
You see, like I said, there are backup systems here, which we always cross-check and audit. If there is any tampering, like I said, it will be flagged up by the main system.
The system installed at the LTA headquarters at Valelebu, Nasinu was funded by government at a cost of $250,000. Similar systems will soon be installed in the west and north. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
The International Union for Conservation of Nature, together with the Ocean Conservancy and other key stakeholders, are undertaking a Waste to Art campaign. It's a campaign where creative arts can be made using recycled rubbish. Julie Vatualiwali with the story.
Despite the unfriendly weather, families and friends turned up in numbers for a foreshore cleanup campaign from Suva to Lami. For the first time in any campaign, this group will be scaling the rubbish that has been collected to get a profile of the different types of waste that's found.
When you collect everything, tide goes in, tide goes out, tide comes back in, goes out again, there's more trash. So the legacy of a cleanup day really needs to be in figuring out what you're picking up and then where to target your interventions.
Participants say events such as this raise awareness on how communities need to change their behavior in protecting the ocean.
The ocean is such an important part of all aspects of our lives and our economies, and things like ocean pollution are a threat.
We need to help out in not throwing rubbish. It's also affecting the marine life, and not only, it's also an eyesore.
Costing $13,000, the cleanup campaign and the Waste to Art project is being funded by the United States of America. Julie Vatualiwali, FBC News.
A family of Wenganake village in Vaisari outside Lami is now living in the comfort of their own home thanks to Habitat for Humanity. Takasa Rainima reports.
Habitat for Humanity volunteers putting up the final touches to this transitional shelter for a family who has been living with another family in cramped quarters in a disaster-prone area.
The family that's receiving this house, we assessed their living conditions and we identified that they had threatened sort of living conditions.
Local and international Habitat for Humanity board members, as well as volunteers, including the young and the old, took part in the construction of the house. The non-profit organization received $7,000 from New Zealand Aid for the building materials.
Habitat doesn't have funding within our own coffers. What we do is we partner with organizations and bilateral partners who can provide funding.
Homeowner George Tamandra, along with his wife and 5 children, will move into the home as soon as the home is completed.
Yes, I'm so very excited and happy. I've been touched by what they've done. And I thank the board members, those who came from New Zealand, the local teams here in Fiji, from Habitat.
Habitat for Humanity Fiji has assisted over 3,140 families over 23 communities through their disaster response and built 820 new homes for 820 families. Tokas Reinima, FBC News.
He was tipped to be one of the stars of the 2015 Rugby World Cup, and so far he has lived up to that expectation. Our successful Fijian tonight features none other than Nemani Nandolo.
Successful Fijians is brought to you by the Fiji Development Bank, your partner in progress.
A whole lot at the moment for my career, and something that I've grown up wanting to do is play for Fiji and play in this World Cup.
Standing at 6 feet 5 inches tall and tipping the scales at 127 kilograms, Nemani Nandolo is not your normal-sized winger. By the standards of modern rugby, Nandolo is a giant.
I know I'm never going to be the quickest, I'm never going to be the fittest, I'm never going to be the smallest, but I always know that I got that mental edge, and there's guys in here that I know that I know what it takes to play these big games.
Nandolo started his rugby career playing club games in Australia from 2007. His stints in the rugby field included playing for the Waratahs in Super 14, in French Top 14 team Bourgogne-Jalou, England's Exeter Chiefs, the NC Green Rockets of Japan, and then the Crusaders in 2014, and ending the season as the competition's top try scorer in the 2014 Super Rugby season. For the journeyman, it has been a roller-coaster ride.
I left home pretty young to pursue this rugby career, and it's never easy being a Fijian kid, who's got. We always grow up with a lot of family around us, and even till today I still get a bit lonely. But yeah, it's always been the biggest challenge for me is just being away from the family. And I've been away now nearly 10 years. I know that what I'm doing is helping the family.
With 21 tries in 27 appearances for the Crusaders and 16 tries in 20 tests for Fiji to his name, one would think the hard-hitting winger has no fears.
I think for me it's the fear of failure. For so many years, I've been told that I was never fit enough, or I was never quick enough to be a winger or to play this game, and that's what sort of wrecked me. Didn't help my chances playing Super Rugby because I just said I was never good enough.
Having been brought up in Brisbane since leaving Fiji at just 3 months old, the polite and softly spoken giant has so much praises for the woman who raised him to be the man he is today.
Mum, she's a rock of our family. She's she's gone through some tough times. Single mother. She's a motivation for us boys to do well. There were times there where we didn't know when, how we were going to get through, the week, but she held us together.
When he retires from professional rugby, Nandolo wants to be known as the humble giant who always has time for people.
In the country for a certain amount of time, that's the rugby, and just to go out in the public and just talk to people that I don't know, or people that I just see on the street, and just have a chat to them about life, and not so much ask about me, but ask about them. That's what really gives me a kick, and I find a bit of motivation in that as well. And yeah, if I was to leave the game tomorrow, I'd probably be wanting to be remembered as someone who was down to earth and then had time for people.
For this man mountain, what keeps him going is his family. His advice to aspiring rugby players is to never give up, just like how he waited 7 years before he made his international debut. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
Successful Fijians was brought to you by the Fiji Development Bank, your partner in progress.
Coming up in sports, Japan caused biggest upset in World Cup history. And Flying Fijians look to get campaign back on track. All this and more after the break.
जहां हम आपको और भी सुंदर बनाते हैं और जहां स्वाद की सौगात भी है। नमस्कार, मैं हूं पल्लवी। सोमवार से शुक्रवार 9 से 12 तक रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर घर संसार में शामिल रहिए मेरे साथ।
ऐसा सुंदर सपना अपना।
Leading sports tonight, Japan has stunned the world with a 34-32 upset win over South Africa in the Rugby World Cup in England. The triumph was the Cherry Blossoms' first World Cup victory in 24 years and caused a dent in the two-time world champions' title aspirations.
The reports and updates of the Rugby World Cup is proudly presented by Vodafone, Power to You, and Airports Fiji Limited, creating new experiences, Fiji's gateway to the world.
In association with FMF, The Right Choice, Total, You Know Where to Turn, and Sun Insurance, for Fijians, by Fijians.
Supported by Fiji Airways, Deluxe, Island Chill, Comfort Home Furnishing, Rooster Chicken, Legal Aid, Land Transport Authority, and Central Rentals.
Can Japan get first points? 10-man maul, South Africa holding on grimly. The Japanese edge towards the posts. Can they do it? They are close. But we're just outside the 22. Diaga, he's a giraffe.
3 points. Same result. Loves it. Turned immediately and made it back.
Strauss! Straight through! You can't stop him!
They want to work in the tight loose as well.
Still good enough to win the line-out. It's been very good, the Japanese line-out. Here we go, Matsushima! Japan!
Whistle as long as that scrum is reset, but the play is still deemed to be on.
Patakawa. Murphy! Here we go! Hisketh! Come on, Hisketh!
Japan will take on Scotland next Thursday in Pool B while the Springboks clash with Samoa. The Vodafone Flying Fijians has its work cut out ahead its next Rugby World Cup pool match against Australia on Thursday. Coach John McKee believes the short turnaround following the disappointing loss to England yesterday will not deter the players as they look to get their campaign back on track. Charlindao Zakadaka reports.
The Flying Fijians proved to the world that there will be no walkover after a spirited display against England in the opening World Cup match. The team is lamenting the missed opportunities at goal between kickers Ben Volavola and Nemani Nandolo.
Look, there was the players' call on the field, maybe the way they feel at the time. The pressure of playing in the big stadium, with maybe the players felt that a little bit today. But if we could have picked up some points there when when the score was 18-11 and we were sort of getting a little bit of momentum back into the game, and if we couldn't have picked up 3 or 6 points then, the final 20 minutes could have been different.
In the post-match press conference, McKee defended his decision to name young fly half Volavola in the run-on side.
John, in a lighter term, Ben Volavola had a shocker. Why wasn't Matavesi brought into the game?
Oh, look, I would disagree with your comment there. I think that's unfair to make a statement like that.
The boys will work on reducing their high error rate in an attempt to follow Japan's lead and stick it to one of the world's top teams.
Be more patient, play to our systems. I felt at half-time that when we had some ball and created some phases that we had England under a lot of pressure, but critical mistakes were letting us down and not enabling us to build on that initial pressure.
The team has arrived in Wales ahead of the clash against the Wallabies in 4 days' time. Silent Odakavaka, FBC Sports.
South African referee Jaco Piper and video official Sean Veldsman have been savage for the way they handled the Fiji-England match yesterday, with fans up in arms on social media over Piper repeatedly deferred to his TMO. From ruling on suspected fouls in the ruck to watching endless replays confirming tries to Nemani Nandolo and England's Billy Vunipola, the TMO had a big input in the game. The Fiji camp did not want to point any fingers, saying the players still needed to do their part on the field.
Well, at the end of the day, it's the referee's call is the final say. He has the final say in the game. Yeah, it was a bit of frustration with a few calls that he made, but we still had to move on and carry on playing.
Tonga also stuttered in its opening loss, going down to Georgia 17-10. The Kaletahi could only cross the chalk once to Georgia's 2 tries. The win sees Georgia take an early lead in Pool C ahead of Tonga, New Zealand, Namibia and Argentina. And defending champions, the All Blacks will face Argentina tomorrow at 3:45 a.m. Six Nations champions Ireland sounded out an early World Cup warning with a 50-7 demolition of Canada. After the recent warm-up defeats to Wales and England, Ireland were back to their clinical best with fly half Jonathan Saxton the orchestrator. The 7 tryout earned Ireland a valuable bonus point to lead Pool D with 5 points. France sits on second spot behind Ireland with 4 points after a 32-10 win over Italy. Fly half Frederic Michalek contributed 19 points to help France overcome the Azzurri. But the television match official was a point of controversy once again after this try by Fiji-born France winger Noah Nakatavi was initially awarded. The referee reversed his decision when he looked at the giant screen to see that Nakatavi had knocked on. Fijian-born player Samuela Vunisa featured at number 8 for Italy in the match. Cloud and showers were experienced over the group today. A trough of low pressure lies slow moving just east of Solomon Islands and extends southeastwards over Fiji. The northern centres recorded the highest temperatures for the day, hitting 32 degrees. Suva recorded the lowest at 28. Occasional showers over most places and isolated heavy falls are expected tomorrow. And the further outlook, a trough of low pressure with associated cloud and showers lies slow moving over Fiji. It is expected to affect the group till Tuesday. Recapping the main stories. Taxi driver fears for his life after female passenger stabs and robs him. Fiji and other Pacific islands heading for a strong to severe El Nino event. And government looks to mainstream deaf students into main school system. Now remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email, citizens@fpc.com.fj, or share it with us via Facebook page, FPC News. If you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FPC News, or simply #FPC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. Good night.